Hi everyone. This week I'm using the Smart Sassy greeting stamps to add a little humor to my card, and I'm also using some very beautiful card toppers along with that. So there's the front and here's the inside. Alright, let me show you some of the products I used and we'll get started on the card. Today I'm using the Smart Sassy Sayings stamps, and there are 18 different stamps on here. And there's several different smart and sassy sayings. So we have chocolate doesn't ask questions, chocolate understands. Life's too short, buy the shoes. Don't let anyone dull your sparkle. Friends don't let friends shop alone. Don't grow up, it's a trap. You're not old, you're 25 plus shipping and handling. I'm a hybrid, I run on chocolate and wine. So lots of fun sayings. And in addition to that, we have some little images. So we've got little cupcake, high heel, there's a little dress form, it's really cute, and some generic swirls, sparkles, hearts, and then a wine glass, and this really pretty butterfly stamp. So those are the Smart and Sassy Sayings. And then I'm also using the Doily. These are Ebony Color Me card toppers, and in this package are 8 pieces total. So we've got 2 ovals, 2 rectangles, 2 of this side borders, and then for the greetings we have 1 sheet of greetings that already have printed words on them, and then 1 of the small or the blank small labels and some kind of decorative buttons. So we've got the blanks so that you can create your own greeting, and I'm going to be using these greetings. So those are the Color Me card toppers, and last but not least, the Jewel Dazzles in Platinum, and this is a smooth silver color. And there are other Jewel Dazzles that are called silver, and those are glitter silver. So just to be clear, these are the smooth silver, which is called Platinum. Alright, so those are the 3 main products that I'm going to use this week, so let's get started. Today I'm going to be using the side borders card topper, and I'm also, for my coloring medium, I'm going to be using these, which are called gelatos. And these, the names of the colors are all named after gelato flavors. So, and this set is the metallic set. There's metallic melon, metallic grape, metallic mint, and metallic blueberry. So I'm going to be using these colors on this card topper. Now the first thing I want to do is to create an artist palette. So I've got an acrylic block here, and I also have a little bit of water in a jar and a paintbrush. And I've also got just a paper towel here to kind of dab off my wet paintbrush. So just to show you an example of how the gelatos go on dry, there's a little bit of a sparkle to these, if you can see that. And that's what makes them metallic. So I'm going to start with the metallic melon, and they look sort of like chapstick, and I would compare them to pastels. I'm just going to color on this block, and it looks really faint on here, but the brush will pick it up with the water. So I'm taking my brush, dipping it in the water, tap off the excess water, maybe dab it on the paper towel once, and now I'm picking up the color from the acrylic block. And just to show you on regular paper, this paints on there just a smooth version of the dry. So looks like I need a little bit more water on my brush. So it's good to kind of test out on scratch paper what your color is going to look like. And I'm going to go ahead and color more of the metallic melon onto my palette, so I have a little more to work with. And that's what I'm going to color the main section of the piece with. So I'm going to set these aside. Add more water to my brush. And it's going to be kind of like a paint by number type thing. So mainly, if your brush is too wet, it might buckle the paper. So you got to just test it out a little bit. So I'm just going to start here and paint in the edges of this section. So it's kind of like pastels in the texture of the actual gelatos, but they are water soluble, so they're not like oil pastels, and that's what makes them really fun to work with. And you can make them lighter or fainter if you add more water, or you can make them more dense and rich in color if you paint a little more dry with them. So I'm going to paint the sides here, and then I'm also going to paint the center, but I'm going to use a little more water on the center so the color is a little more faint. And I'll be right back. So here's what my card looks like so far. And another thing you can do if you want to get really vivid color is to actually dip your paintbrush in some water and actually pick up the color from the gelato itself. And that way you'll get a really nice, deep, vivid color. Okay, so that's the basic technique for coloring the card. I'm going to go ahead and finish with all the other colors, and then we will start putting on the card greeting. So I'm pretty much done with the painting, and I've used the mint around here and this little thin strip here, and then the blueberry, I believe it is. Yes, metallic blueberry for the scallops right here and along the bottom. So I'm going to now take my blank white card, and it's a 6.5 inch by 5 inch card. Fold is on the top. Actually, I'm going to make it a vertical card, so the fold's on the left. So once this is pretty much dry, you can go ahead and glue it to the front of the card. For the greeting on the front, I'm going to use the Layered Labels template, and it has 23 different shapes, but I'm going to use the kind of squarish one right here. I've got a piece of just plain white cardstock, and I'm going to trace and cut out this large shape right here. And it's as simple as taking a pencil and just going around. And then I'll cut it out. Now you can see I've got some gaps here. So I had the template this way, so I rotated it 90 degrees. And if you kind of match up the shape here and trace it once again, all those gaps should be filled in. And I can kind of see the gaps already, so I'm just going to go over those just to show you. Okay, so I'm holding down the template and just checking. Perfect. So my shape is now complete, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. Now that I've got that cut out, I'm going to take a cosmetic sponge and the mint gelato, and I'm simply going to get some color onto the sponge. And I've done this technique with ink pads, but I've never done this with gelatos, but I'm happy to report that it works just fine. So got the color on the sponge, and I'm just going to brush it along the edges to get some color on the edge. There we go. Now another thing I did was dampen the sponge so I could get a little more color off of the gelato and onto the edges of the label. So that's another tip. Now that that's done, I am going to stamp my greeting, and I'm going to use the Smart Sassy Sayings and the You're Not Old, You're 25 greeting. So I want to split this up. I want to put this on the inside. So I'm going to mask off plus shipping and handling with a separate piece of paper. Alright, so I'm going to use my jet black StazOn. Open it up, take off the protective covering, and I'm going to go ahead and ink up my entire stamp here. now I'm gonna see where I want this piece of paper to land. That looks about good. Oops. It's tricky to get everything in the right place. Okay. Here we go. Worked out pretty nice. Now the plus shipping and handling, I'm also going to use a mask on for the inside. So I'm going to set this stamp aside, but I'm going to leave it on the block. Now I'm going to take my greeting for the front of the card and I'm gluing it onto this black cardstock. And I'm just going to cut around the edge to mat it on the black. Now I'm also going to use this small swirl, where is it? There it is, stamp on either side of the 25, just so that it takes up a little more of that label shape. So one on this side, turn it around, and one on the other. And I'm also gonna use this little sparkle, and that will go, I'm just gonna quickly put it on this corner of this block, and we'll go here at the top and the bottom. Great. Now I can go ahead and I'm gonna foam tape this to the front of my card. Right in the middle, and I don't often put things in the direct middle, but in this case I think it fits. Now I'm gonna take my platinum jewel dazzles and I'm gonna decorate the front of this card with some sparkle, and then we'll move on to the inside. Okay, so here is the finished card front. Now the platinum jewel dazzles, I've only used this many, and I have decorated on the Color Me card topper itself, in between each of these scallops, and then one in between these swirls all the way down on both sides. And then on the greeting, I have it in each of these little corners, and I also have it as an ellipsis, so the 3 dots after 25, because that's not the end of the greeting. I'm going to put the rest of it on the inside. So I have colored this tag, and I've cut it out of the labels and tags sheet here. So I've just made sure to cut about an 1/8 inch allowance so that I could paint a pink border around the black line. So I painted that with the melon, I believe, and then I did the blueberry and the mint for the rest, and then the melon on the inside. And that I'm going to stamp with plus shipping and handling, so I'm going to do the same masking technique. Alright, so I've stamped my rest of the greeting here, and I have the large swirl on my stamp block, so I kind of want the swirl to come out of the behind the label. So I'm going to kind of eyeball it. So the label's going to be here, so I'm going to put the swirl right about there. And then on the other side, okay, good. And so now I can glue my label down. Okay, so I've also added the heart, which is from the stamp set as well. And now across the bottom I'm going to do a swirl border. So I've got my large swirl. Kind of want it to start kind of cut off at the fold, so I'm going to start it right about here. And then continue across. There we go. So that's all I'm going to do for the inside. Nice and simple and plenty of room for your personalized greeting. Here's a quick review of the card. There's the front with the platinum jewel dazzles kind of shining on the front, as well as the embossed parts, which if you get some of the gelatos on there, you can simply wipe it off with a paper towel or a slightly damp paper towel. That'll get it right off. And then there's the inside. Alright, so that's this week's episode, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Stay tuned for the bundle, and I'll see you again next week. First, in this week's bundle, we have the Smart Sassy Sayings stamp set, and this has 18 different stamps and several images in addition to all of the sassy sayings. And just to give you an idea, the greetings are a pretty good size. So this one's 2 1/4 inches wide by about an inch tall. This one's about an 1.5 inches tall by 2 inches wide. So they are a good size, and they're different. They're different widths too. So you've got some wider, thinner ones. This one would be great on a vertical tag or label. So you've got a lot of different options here, and a lot of fun little images as well. And then we also have the platinum jewel dazzles, and these are a smooth silver color with a gold edge around them, and there are 540 of them in 3 sizes on this sheet. And of course the Color Me card toppers, and there are 8 pieces in this pack, and these are the Doily card toppers. So you're getting 2 each of these designs. There's the kind of side border. These are really pretty intricate, lacy designs. You can leave them black and white if you wish, but the thing about Color Me is that you can make them any color of the rainbow, and you can color them with many different inks, paints, colored pencils, chalks, sprays. So that's what's fun about them. So those are the 8 pieces in the Color Me doilies.